This is the Reverse Oreo podcast with
Graham Allen,
Chase Jones,
and Claire Mixon.
and today's special guest we have
Bailey.
And Millie.
and today in this episode we'll be talking about post-war capitalism, generational struggles, and personal responsibility. Graham Allen, what do you think post-war capitalism is? Why not?
all right, Bailey, tell us what the book is about.
Okay. The book is about an older salesman in his late 60s who struggles with the idea of the American dream and success and ultimately fails, and it leads to him having suicidal thoughts and killing himself.
Yep. And yeah, what she said. No, but going off of that, everything about that was right, but specifically in Act 2, it gets darker as the book goes on. Right? Yeah. And it does. And in the beginning, it's kind of like he has a little potential to get better, but no. Okay, ask me a question.
He also has two sons who are very unsuccessful.
Yeah, he does.
Miss Tanner's chiming in. Anyways, but his brother was very successful, Willie's brother, who is not alive anymore. And, yeah, he never made any money. He was awful at managing his money.
Yeah.
He had a bunch of delusions.
During his sales career, which is his whole career, he started off, I'm pretty sure, with commission, which is a salary. Or no, he started off with a salary, and then he also got commission for when he sold stuff. But later on, he just became so bad and such a liability to the company that they just put him on commission. So the only money that he would bring home is the money that he would make off the sales. And so if he didn't make any sales, he wasn't bringing any money home. So that also contributed to part of the play where he just has to ask his neighbor Charlie for money, and he has to ask and he can't pay off basic bills. He couldn't even pay off his insurance or his yeah, he had to pay off his fridge. If you're yeah.
All right, so Chase, I'm actually going to ask you something. So, how do you think generational struggles relate to the book? What do you think?
I mean, Willie's downfall and him being very unsuccessful, could argue that he was, he did some things good, but he didn't set his kids up for success. The way he raised Biff could have, he could have became something and happy, yeah, but happy, whatever. But Biff, the way he raised Biff, let him steal without any consequences and other things, his generational struggles, go through Biff and happy, but at the end of the scene, it shows Biff, could actually have a future, but happy maybe.
Okay. More about this.
What's
up,
podcast?
Right. Okay. So more about these generational struggles. Willie's dad made flutes and worked with his hands, and Willie did not do that. And his income and his work was based off of people instead of something you could actually use. And his brother was very successful, so I'm not trying to say he was the failure of the family, but he just probably felt what's the word I'm looking for? Not
Not his value.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like that.
I don't know if they've covered this yet, but also Willie's yeah, we love his fonts. Willie's wife, Linda, enabled him to act like that because he would come home and he would just talk about he would kind of like he would talk badly about himself and she would just make excuses for his behavior. Like in the beginning of the book, it talks about how he was going like, I don't remember how much it was, but he was going so slow on a highway, and she like makes excuses for him even though he like does all of this wrong, and he like basically costs them like their money, but she just enables him to act like that, and that's also why he's delusional and like his behavior's the way it is.
Okay, I think we should hear from Claire.
What do you think about we could do
Personal responsibility. Yeah. I mean, what do you think about personal responsibility and like what it is?
Isn't it like Happy?
Oh,
Was
no,
it?
let's talk about it.
So Biff and Happy was more of like chasing girls, and Biff was more of like on sports and like focused on football. And Biff was trying to actually like find something successful to do in his life, but Happy was more of just like chasing girls and like
living the teenage life?
living the teenage
Okay,
dream.
talk about how Willie had like very big ambitions for Biff, but Biff didn't want to do like follow in Willie's footsteps.
I think that Biff like had potential to be like great if his dad like didn't act the way he acted. Like I think he could have like had a really great career, whether it was like football or like even sales, but the way Happy enabled him to like steal and lie and cheat and just like trying to tell him like if you don't get caught then it's okay. But I think had he had a good role model to look up to when he was growing up, then he would have done better and he wouldn't have been unemployed at 30.
Agreed.
Yes.
So we also have one more topic that we want to hit on during this episode, and Graham, I think you could do pretty good on this. What is like post-war capitalism?
All right, so I think Willie and his family struggle with post-war capitalism by, like, World War II has just happened, and it left Willie's family and the Lomans, like, in distress, and everyone, and they were really just so poor. I mean, they had to pay off all their household items, and they really just could not afford to do anything. Like, Willie kept having to pay his car off, and I mean, everything went down to the cents in their family, and I think that was one way that developed how Biff moved on in his life and why he was trying to make a way for himself and not following Willie's footsteps.
I can add to it after you. Okay. There's a quote in the book, and it says, "The jungle is dark but full of diamonds," and it's basically a metaphor. And his older brother Ben says it, and he basically like that's another big theme in this book is like Willie actually, like he has such a like unrealistic idea of the American dream, and this quote kind of like touches on that because it basically means like even through all the darkness in the world you can still make it by saying like the diamond and the darkness and all that. And this like kind of gives Willie false hope even though Willie like never makes it. So he basically just like thinks like I don't have to work hard, I can just make it either way because I'm like living the American dream, but it like just doesn't work like that. And his like older brother kind of gave him false hope in that way.
Okay, I have to add one more thing. Okay, before we leave, I think we should give it up for our special guests because they carried this podcast.
Well, I was gonna sign y'all out, but that's fair.
No, you can sign us out.
Yeah,
too.
sign us out, ready?
All right. Well, that's the end of the episode.
Episode 67.
Episode 67. 67.